Hi, I'm Willa Kaiser from the Caduceus Institute of Classical Homeopathy, where we train people to become homeopaths and also to help their friends and family with homeopathy. So I wanted to share a case with you today that was taken by an actual student in our program. And this person had a friend who had a terrible toothache. But before we get to the case, I wanted to tell you a personal story about my mother. My mother is the person who introduced me to homeopathy. And one of the reasons that she raved about homeopathy is she had had so many miraculous results herself. And one of them actually had to do with a toothache. One day she had suddenly got this terrible pain in her tooth, and it was excruciating. And she was afraid she was going to have to go to the emergency room to get some pain medicine. It was so bad. But somebody gave her a homeopathic remedy, and the moment that the remedy touched her tongue, the pain completely disappeared. It was just amazing. The remedy that worked in my mother's case was mercury, and indeed, mercury is one of our top remedies for toothache. So, this case that I'm going to share with you now um, involves another remedy that's very helpful for toothache, but it's not a mercury case. So, this is a case of a 45-year-old woman who had a terrible toothache. She described the toothache as being like an earthquake, the pain being like an earthquake, and that it shakes her whole body. That's how bad the pain is. And that she noticed that she craves sour things like vinegar and lemons since having this toothache. There's pus coming out, and her gums are very swollen and bleeding, and the tooth that she has the pain in feels long. And that's very interesting. These little details that I'm sharing with you here are actually how we find a homeopathic remedy. It's really based on the individualization of symptoms. So the fact that, vinegar and lemons were being craved and that her tooth feels long is very interesting. Um, so she also was extremely sensitive to anything cold on it. Anything cold would just make her feel much, much worse. So the tooth, the homeopathic student actually looked at the tooth and saw that the gums were swollen, the tooth was infected, there was pus coming out, and the pus was thick and yellow without any blood. So the student needed a little more information to know how to look up this symptom. We have something called the repertory, which is an index of symptoms. And in order to find the remedy, we need to cross-reference some of these symptoms that she's describing. But there isn't anything in our repertory about pain like an earthquake. So she asked again, can you tell me more about how that pain feels? And she said, it shakes her whole body. It feels like something like a glass or a sharp thing is going through it. And now that is a symptom we can use because we do have in the repertory, we talk about splinter sensation like a splinter. So that was actually a helpful symptom that the student was able to elicit from her friend. So these some of the symptoms that she looked up in the repertory include this kind of sharp, penetrating splinter-like pain, um, this sense of the tooth being long, which in the repertory is teeth elongation sensation of, which is other. There are remedies when people when they get a toothache and the tooth feels long. Lying on the painful side aggravates. I may have forgotten to mention that symptom, but yeah, the cold made it a lot worse, and also lying on it made it worse as well. And then the suppuration, which is the word for the pus that was coming out. So there's a remedy that is in a lot of home remedy kits that this case fits very well with the sensitivity to colds, the desire for sour things, the sharp splinter-like pain. There was also some irritability in this person's mood. She was feeling irritable as well. And that remedy is Kefar salt. And so this homeopathy student gave the remedy Kefar salt 30C based on these symptoms. There's often with Kefar salt, sometimes the glands are also involved. There's often this pus, as I said, um, and also this incredible sensitivity to cold things and sensitivity to pain and irritability and craving sour things, just to review the symptoms again. Maybe the keynotes will start to stick in your mind a little bit. So keep our salt was given 32 twice a day, and um, the response of the friend who had this thing said, "I can't believe homeopathy works so fast. There's no pain and no pus." So the remedy helped her very much, very quickly, just like with my mom. Of course, homeopathy is not a replacement for medical care. If you have a toothache and an infection in your tooth, you still need to get it taken care of by a dentist. But in terms of handling the acute pain and taking the edge off the infection, uh, homeopathy can certainly just do a marvelous job. So I hope that case was interesting for you. And our students in our program learn these basic remedies that you can use with your friends and your family. Um, so you can actually learn these homeopathic remedies and be able to help your friends and family with these last minute emergencies that can happen in the middle of the night. Keeping the remedy kit around and learning the remedies can be a very, very thing. So you can consider exploring Module 1, our basic program, which will teach you what you need to get to know to take care of your friends and family. Thanks for joining me.